Hello everybody, namaskaram to all the beautiful people out there. Hope you guys are doing amazingly well. Welcome back to another lesson of English with Ashish. And guys, in this lesson, we are going to master present perfect continuous tense, a very important tense. It has unique usages. It also gets confused with the present continuous tense. A lot of people use it interchangeably, which is not possible. You shouldn't do it. So today we are going to learn everything about this tense. I'm excited, very excited as a matter of fact. Hope you guys are too. Let's do it. All right, let's understand when to use present perfect continuous tense. It's very simple, guys. Just understand this, okay? Present perfect continuous tense is used to talk about actions that started in the past and they're still going on in the present, right? So here we are talking about actions that started in the past, right? They started in the past, but they're still going on, still continuing in the present. That's how we use present perfect continuous tense. Just focus on two things. We're talking about actions that started happening in the past, all right? And they are still going on in the present, right? So guys, understand this. The whole point, the whole purpose of using the present perfect continuous tense is to focus on two things. We either focus on how long something has been happening for, which is basically an action, how long the action or an action has been happening for, or since when the action has been happening, right? We're not just focusing on the continuity of the action, we're either talking about how long the action has been happening for or since when the action has been going on or happening, all right? This is what we talk about in present perfect continuous tense. Guys, if we just look at the word present perfect continuous tense, if we just do that, I'm pretty sure you'll understand what it means. Have you tried it? Have you done it? Let's do it together. If we just look at the word present perfect continuous tense, we'll probably understand what it means. All right. We'll look at the word perfect first. Perfect means a past action, an action already started. Continuous means that is in progress, that is in continuity, going on. Present in the present tense means time. Right? So we're talking about an action that started in the past, perfect, already started in the past, continuous is going on in the present time. All right? This is what present perfect tense is all about. We're talking about an action that started in the past, already started, but it is still going on in the present time. Let me show you some examples and make you understand, guys. It is very, very simple. Let's look at the structure first. First comes the subject, followed by has been or have been, followed by the verb in the progressive tense, which is V plus ing, followed by the object or modifier. Now let's understand when to use has been and have been. Has been is used with a singular subject, that is third person pronoun he, she, it, and all the singular noun names, right? And have been is used with a plural subject, that is I, you, we, they. I have been, you have been, they have been, all the plural noun names like teachers, students, dancers, friends, right? So that's how we use has been and have been. Now let's look at the first example. He has been crying in his room for 2 hours, right? He is a singular subject, so with a singular subject we use has been, he has been. He has been crying in his room for 2 hours. This action has been happening, has been going on for the last 2 hours. Guys, understand this. We're not just focusing on the continuity of the action, we're talking about how long this action has been going on for, happening for. And that is exactly why we're using present perfect continuous tense. If we simply wanted to talk about the continuity of the action, we would simply use present continuous tense and we would say, he is crying in his room. He's simply crying in his room. This action is happening right now. But no, that's not the point. I want you to focus on the time duration for which this action has been going on, right? This action has been happening for the last 2 hours. For is used to talk about the time duration, all right? We have been living together for more than 10 years. This action of living together has been happening for more than 10 years. This is what I want you to focus on. Just don't look at this is going on right now. No, that's not what I want you to look at. I want you to understand. I want you to understand that this action has been going on for the last 10 years. For the last 10 years, we have been living together. Hearing the point? Understand why we're using present perfect continuous tense, why this tense is made. right? Max has been working here since 2010. Max has been doing something which is working here, and it has been happening since 2010. Now we use since to talk about the starting point of an action, right? The point when the action started happening. Max has been working here, and this action started in 2010, and from that very point of time, this has been going on. Max has been working here. All right. Fourth example. I have been teaching since 2014, which is true. I have been teaching since 2014. Since again is talking about the starting point of this action. This action of teaching started happening in 2014, and from that very point of time, it has been going on, right? So I'm not just focusing on that this action is going on right now. No, I am focusing on that this action has been going on since a particular time in the past. All right, next example. He has not been eating for days. We can also talk about something that has not been happening. All right, he has not been eating for days. For days means for many days. It's not talking about a particular time duration. If we wanted to, we would simply use a number before days. We would say for 5 days, for 10 days, for 13 days, 15 days, whatever the number you want to use, right? He has not been eating for days. This action has not been happening for days, for many days. All right, again, for is talking about a time duration which is not very specific here. It's very uncertain because we're not using the number before days. Okay, so that's how we use present perfect continuous tense. I'm pretty sure you've understood it, right? Now what we're going to do is we are going to look at how to use for and since, right? As I told you, for is used to talk about the time duration. It is used to talk about how long something has been happening, right? Now, what are the things that come in time duration? These are centuries, decades, years, months, weeks, days, hours, minutes. For a long time, this is also an expression which talks about an uncertain time duration, right? If you want to talk about an uncertain, unspecified time duration, just say for centuries, for decades, for years, for months, weeks, days, for hours, for minutes, for a long time. If you want to talk about an uncertain time duration. Now, if you want to talk about a certain time duration, use a number before these things, right? Before these names. 5 centuries, for 5 centuries, for 3 decades, for 2 years. I've been teaching for 2 years. I've been teaching for 8 months, 3 weeks, 20 days, 9 hours, 20 minutes, for a long time, right? For a long time is not a specific time duration, right? It is a very uncertain, vague time duration. If you do not want to talk about a certain time duration, just use for followed by these names without the number. If you want to talk about the certain time duration, use for followed by the number followed by these names. All right. I have been living here for 10 years, right? So this is the present right now. This is present. Okay. 10 years back is, let's say, here. So this action has been happening for the last 10 years. This is 10 years, right? This is the time duration, right? For is used to talk about the time duration. Okay, simple. I have been living here for 10 years. I have been living here for 10 months, for 10 days, for 10 hours, something like that. A specific time duration. I have been living here for years. Years means many years. For months, for many months. For days, for many days, right? I have been living here for a long time. Now, this is a very unspecific time duration. We don't know the exact time duration. I have been living here for a long time. It could be just days, it could be months, it could be years. We don't know, right? So that's how we use for. Now, since it's used to talk about the starting point of an action, it talks about when an action started happening in the past, right? And the time units that we use with since are following. Last night, yesterday, last week, last month, last year, last decade, 21st March, 6 a.m., the beginning of the year, the beginning of the class, the beginning of the month, right? Morning, Sunday, a specific date, 18 October 1996, right? So these are the time expressions that we use with since. Look at the example. I have been living here since last year, right? So this action is going on right now in the present, and it started happening here. This is the last year. This is the point where this action started happening, and this is going on right now in the present as well. I have been living here since 1996. This is the exact time when this action started happening. I have been living here since I broke up with Jen. You can also use a clause to refer to a certain time in the past. I have been living here since I broke up with Jen. It is very clear. Obviously, I must have broken up with Jen at some time in the past, right? So it's referring to that time in the past, right? You can also use a clause. So that's how we use since. Now, let's understand how to make sentences here. The first is very simple affirmative sentence, which is very simple. We've already looked at it. Subject followed by has been or have been, followed by the verb in the progressive form, followed by for or since, followed by the object. All right. He has been taking medicines for a month. This action has been happening, going on for a month. They have been working on it since 2015. This action has been happening since 2015, the exact time when it started. Affirmative sentences. Negative sentences, nothing changes here. We just use not. Why do we use negative sentences? We use negative sentences here to talk about an action that has not been happening for a certain amount of time or since a particular time in the past, right? He has not been taking, right? Just use not after has or have. He has not been or hasn't been taking medicines for a month. This action hasn't been happening for a month. They have not been working on it since last week. They have not been working on it since last week. Negative sentences. Interrogative sentences. Now, there are two ways to form them. The first is without WH question words, and the second is with WH question words. First structure, has have followed by the subject, followed by been, followed by the verb in the progressive tense, followed by for, since, followed by the object, followed by this question mark, right? The second is WH question words like where, when, how, followed by has or have, followed by the subject, followed by been, followed by the verb in the progressive tense, followed by for or since, followed by object, followed by the question mark. Now guys, I don't want you to focus on the structure. I want you to look at the examples and then repeat, practice, you'll understand it. This is the right way to do it. Just don't look at the structure and then try to make sentences. Look at the examples and then make your own examples, make your own sentences. This is the right way to do it. If you just look at the structure and then try to use it, you'll not be able to retain it for a long time, right? That's not the right way to do. Examples. How long have you been working here for? How long have you been doing something? How long have you been working here for? I'm not just concerned about an action that is going on right now. I am concerned about, I want to know how long this has been going on for, all right? If you want to talk about, if you want to know how long something has been happening for, use how long, right? How long in the beginning. How long followed by has or have, followed by the subject, followed by been, followed by V1, you know the structure, right? How long have you been working here for? How long have you been smoking here for, all right? Now, if you want to know since when an action has been happening, start the sentence with since when. Since when has he been seeing you? Seeing here means dating, right? Since when has he been seeing you? Since when this action has been happening. All right, that's how we use interrogative sentences. I hope it is clear. An interesting question. Can I use present perfect continuous tense without using for or since? Is it possible? Should I absolutely have for or since in my sentence? Can I make a present perfect continuous sentence without using for or since? Can I do it? Absolutely, I can. If for or since is understood, or you can use lately or recently in your sentence. Look at this example. He has been working very hard lately. He has been working very hard lately. Lately means very close to the present, right? For some time. But this time expression is not very clear. It could be for some days, for some months, obviously not some years, because lately refers to a time which is very close to the present, right? He has been working very hard lately, in recent times, right? So you can use lately in your sentence in present perfect continuous tense. You have been drinking a lot recently or lately. You have been doing something, an action which is drinking a lot recently or lately, right? I'm not just focusing on an action that is going on right now. I'm focusing on an action that has been going on for some time. And lately or recently refers to that time, right? It is not referring to a particular time or a particular time duration, but it talks about that it has been going on since a time which is very close to the present, or for a time duration which is not a huge time duration, which is not a big time duration. Get the point? Okay. Now, very important thing, right? With some verbs, it is absolutely inappropriate to use present perfect continuous tense. Look at these examples. I have owned this car for more than 10 years. I have been owning this car for more than 10 years. Own is a verb that shows a state of possession. You cannot use in progressive tenses. So you cannot say, I have been owning this car for more than 10 years. You will simply say, I have owned this car for more than 10 years, or I have had this car for more than 10 years, right? It itself means I had it 10 years back, and still on this very day in the present, I have it, right? Similarly, we can say, I've had this car for more than 10 years. Have or own means the same things, shows the possession, all right? I've had this car for more than 10 years. But you cannot say, I've been having this car for more than 10 years. That is incorrect. Cannot say that. One more verb, love. She has loved you for years. It itself means she loved you sometime back in the past and she still loves you, right? But you cannot say she has been loving you for years. Loving, love is a stative verb. You cannot use it in progressive tenses, right? So there are some verbs with which you cannot use present perfect continuous tense, and there are some stative verbs that you cannot use in progressive tenses at all. On your screen is the list of these verbs. All right, so I'm pretty sure you've understood what is present perfect continuous tense, how to use it. I hope you understand the difference between present continuous tense and present perfect tense. Present continuous tense just focus on an action that is happening, that is going on right now. Present perfect continuous tense, we talk about an action that started in the past and still in the present going on. We either talk about, focus on the time duration for which the action has been going on for, or the starting point of the action, since when it is going on. Okay, so that's all about present perfect continuous tense. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, loved it. If you did, hit the like button. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Till then, keep learning, have fun. I'm out.